I was born in Mexico City. Um, my father is an artist. My mother is an artist as well. All those different images I have in my mind from my childhood are paintings everywhere in my apartment, music, classical music, jazz, everywhere, right? I got a scholarship to go to Cuba. It was magic for me. It was magic for me. I got my degree as an actor and filmmaker and producer in Cuba during those years, and then I came back to Mexico and started working everywhere, basically doing films, doing movies, doing television, theater, everything. When I was a little kid, I used to play by myself, basically, because, I had a great imagination. But as I recall, the first time I had this dream in my mind, it was when I was about 7 years old or 6 years old. And I remember, I had this very clear moment in my mind. I was watching a movie. That movie was Awakenings with Robert De Niro and with Robin Williams, and I was very impressed. It was something new for me. I was watching a movie with my mother and with my father, and I saw these great performances. When the movie was ended, I turned to my mother and I said, I want to do that. When I came back from Cuba, I was doing theater with the National Company of Theater in Mexico, and I had a friend of mine. He was doing a monologue in New York. And I told him, listen, just do me a favor and bring me any information you can get from any acting school, right? So my friend went up there to New York, and when he came back, he brought me this book from HB Studio. But I was so excited about this information that I picked up the phone and I called the school. And this one guy, he said, don't worry, I'm gonna send you some information about the school. He sent me the information. I applied for a scholarship and I got it. And then I moved to New York. 1 year later, I discovered that my teacher, the person I consider as my mentor, Jim Berling, was the person who answered the phone a year before when I called by the first time. Another great connection about my life and New York, it was, this thing about Awakenings and Robert De Niro and Robin Williams. 2 years ago, I was preparing balls, a comedy about soccer, street soccer that I shot in Barranquilla between Colombia and Mexico. And I went by the first time to Colombia and I met my partner. This is our first meeting and I'm just coming right there, and the first thing I saw hanging on the wall was this picture with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams on the wall, on her wall at her office. And I told her about this story and she gave me that picture and she said, listen, this belongs to you, take it home. And I was, no way. And she was like, yeah, I insist, this is yours, whatever. I came back to New York and I put that picture in my bathroom. A week later, Robert Roussel, a friend of mine, came to New York and we were preparing a new project. And he told me, listen, you're not going to believe this. We have an invitation to go to Broadway. Robin Williams is playing a part on this play. It's a Broadway production, and he's a friend of mine, and he's inviting us to go and sit. We went to play. Afterwards, we went backstage, and I met him, and we had a great conversation. Robert is a producer, so he showed him my work, my trailers, No Turning Back, Balls, whatever. And when we were having a conversation, I was amazed. I was like, I couldn't move. I couldn't even talk. I was so nervous. And when I was having a conversation with Robin Williams, Robert De Niro came backstage because it happened for him to be there that night for any reason. You know, he was opening Tribeca Film Festival that night, and he just stopped by to say hello to Robin Williams. So I had a conversation with the two of them, and you know, of course, I told them about my picture and about Awakenings. But that's New York. That's the way everything happened in New York, and that's the way, you know, I live my life in New York, and that's the reason why I love the city so much. You know, because I feel so identified with it and with those connections that I could never imagine myself in any other place right now as an actor.